More.
Can I get a price check on those Del Monte green beans on aisle 7?
All right, I'll do math. You do the judge.
Hope that wasn't recorded. Oh, it went out.
You're out of order.
Okay.
They're $1.56.
Oh, $1.50. Okay. All right. Well, if we can't have a little fun, then why do it?
Yeah, but you gotta be funnier.
Okay. All right. I had to borrow this, but I'll get you one.
Okay,
Here you go.
Hmm.
Coffee for me, please. So.
Feels like it.
you ready, Izetta? Okay, you see any reason we can't go ahead? Welcome, everybody, to the March 27th, 2023 City Council meeting. I'd like to ask our city clerk to please call the roll.
Counselor Runyon,
Present.
Counselor Richardson,
Present.
Counselor Randall,
Present.
Counselor McLaughlin,
Present.
Mayor Mays,
Present.
Counselor Long is going to try to zoom in. She's
Counselor
in.
Long is in Washington, DC as part of the community outreach team with other community representatives. Item 3 is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask Counselor Richardson to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right.
We had quite a discussion minutes ago about the proper pronunciation, or I should say cadence with the words of to the Pledge of Allegiance. And we've decided that from now on, there will be no hesitation after the word invisible. Is that okay? And Counselor Richardson, thank you for doing it properly.
You're welcome, Mr. Mayor.
3 commas, not 4.
Correct.
Okay, item 4 is approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda. I'll second it.
It's been moved by Counselor Richardson and seconded by Counselor Randall to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 5 is presentations and proclamations. I noticed we had Mr. Kevin Mansfield with us on Zoom, but hopefully he can get back with us. And while we're waiting, I can read the proclamation. Oh, there he is. Welcome, Mr. Mansfield.
Welcome.
I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation and then I'll ask you if you have any comments and then we'll have a vote. Or is there a vote on this or just, no? Okay. This is a City of the Dalles proclamation declaring 2023, this month, 2023 Parkinson's Awareness Month. Parkinson's disease is a chronic, progressive neurological disease and is the second most common neurodegenerative disease in the United States. Parkinson's disease is the 14th leading cause of death in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. There are millions of Americans who are caregivers, family members, and friends greatly impacted by Parkinson's disease. There is no known cure or drug to slow or halt the progression of the disease, and available treatments are limited in their ability to address patients' medical needs and remain effective over time. Increased research, education, and community support services are needed to find more effective treatments and to provide access to quality care to those living with the disease today. Therefore, I, Richard Mays of the City of the Dalles, do hereby proclaim April as Parkinson's Awareness Month in the Dalles. Mr. Mansfield, do you have any comments or?
Yes, Mayor. I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, and City Council for I'm declaring the month of April as Parkinson's Awareness Month. I live in Portland. Sorry I didn't make it there to the Dalles tonight to be there in person. But I am a public policy advocate with Michael J. Fox Foundation for the last 10 years. I've been with Parkinson's Resources of Oregon as a facilitator for about the last 20 years, and I was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2001. So this means a lot to me for you doing this personally, and also to the many other people that have Parkinson's. There is a support group that you or any of your council members are welcome to go to. They're in the Dalles. It's at the Mid-Columbia Medical Center. It's on the first Thursday of the month at 10:45 a.m. There's approximately 1 million people in the United States that have Parkinson's disease. And out of that million, we have approximately 20,000 people living here in the state of Oregon. To let you know a little bit about how much this disease has grown, when I was first diagnosed in 2001, we had approximately 12 to 14 support groups in the state of Oregon. Today, we have approximately 50 to 55 support groups. Before the pandemic, we were up to 60 support groups. So that's quite a number of people with Parkinson's. In the last 6 to 9 months, I have an average between 1 and 3 families that call me personally saying that they were newly diagnosed with Parkinson's and they want to know how to get involved with a support group and learn further information on this. A recent study that was brought out in December of last year, a research study that was put on by the Parkinson's Foundation, the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research, as well as the Institute for Clinical Evaluative Services, came up that the United States has a 50% higher previous estimate of the growth of Parkinson's. They used to think that there was about 60,000 people a year diagnosed, and now we're up to 90,000 people. So with you doing this proclamation for us, Mayor and City Council, is very much appreciative. I will pass the information on to Parkinson's Resources of Oregon, as well as your local support group, as well as the Michael J. Fox Foundation. And I'm hoping to have a news interview thanking all of the cities that have taken part of this.
Thank you very much. Izetta, do we need his address for the record? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mansfield. Okay, item 6 is audience participation. During this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject which does not later appear on the agenda. Up to 5 minutes per person will be allowed. Citizens are encouraged to ask questions with the understanding that the city can either answer the question tonight or refer that question to the appropriate staff member who will get back to you within a reasonable amount of time. If a response by the city is requested, the speaker will be referred to the city manager for further action. The issue may appear on a future meeting agenda for city council consideration. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the city council for up to 5 minutes on any subject which does not later appear on the agenda? Ms. Marsh, please come forward. Give us your name and address.
Corliss Marsh, 1401 East 21st Street here in the Dalles. Mayor, Honorable Mayor, and City Councilors, I come before you tonight as the Chair of the Library District Board. I come with some information about the Library District and would like some questions answered. We have an intergovernmental agreement between the Wasco County Library District and the City of the Dalles, dated February 23rd, 2010, and amended in July 2010. The agreement is automatically renewed every 2 years on July 1, unless terminated by either one of the parties by providing with written notice of termination to the other party by no later than April 1 of each year. Let me emphasize that we do not wish to terminate this agreement. We just want some of the provisions renegotiated, revised, and implemented and I know the city probably would like to do the same. In the IGA, under provisions 5.1.1, the library board is responsible for the management of the IGA and recommend to the district governing body any amendments to the IGA. So the question is, who is the district governing body? The agreement is signed by the city representatives of the city clerk, and the county commissioners. So where do we start? How do we renegotiate some of the provisions? Who is responsible for drawing up the amended intergovernmental agreement? We just have questions. For transparency, we have also broached the subject with the county commissioners individually. If need be, I can ask the same questions to the county just as I did with you tonight. Hopefully this can be resolved as soon as possible.
Thank you. I would think that you'd be working with our city attorney and our city manager. Unless, would you like to comment?
Yeah, just briefly, Corliss and I had a meeting with the library director a couple weeks ago.
Couple weeks ago, yeah.
On this very subject, because there are, in my opinion, some provisions in the IGA that I think we both kind of agree on and need some refinement and some revision. It's been a number of years since that IGA was entered into, and we've had some experience working under those provisions of the IGA. And here we are roughly 13 years later or so, and it may be very prudent to take another look at. And so in my meeting with Corliss and with the library director, expressed my interest in doing that and taking this year or however much time it would take, and have one of our objectives be looking at that IGA and what kind of revisions could be made to it to ensure that we're working together as closely as possible and as easily as possible as partners. There's a couple different provisions specifically in mind that deal with administrative fees or maintenance of the building, as well as a few others. And I think moving forward, certainly working together as we met a couple weeks ago would be that place to go, working with the city attorney to draft up any amendments or anything like that. And then I've had some conversations with the county commissioners as well, especially after their county commission meeting, to make sure that they were aware of some of the dynamics and broach that conversation as well as to what may be the best process to go forward with. I think some conversation amongst the three parties, I think, would be very prudent. And as I noted in the meeting that we had together, I'd be more than willing to come down to a district meeting and introduce myself as the new city manager and have some of that conversation. So I think that would be a great place to start.
Okay, so that the library board would love to meet you, but they really want to get started. I mean, this is, we just keep rolling the ball down the road, but we need to start working on this IGA, working on the amendment. I mean, it's 2010, that's 12 years ago, and some of the revisions are really old. And so, and some of it you don't want to follow. I mean, so, and we don't want to follow. There are things in there that really need to be revisited. But what I'm concerned about is, let's get it started. How do we start this process? I mean, how are we going to get it down so we have a piece of paper?
Well, I think
That's-
the city manager will certainly get a hold of you guys ASAP and
Yeah.
after tonight and start the ball rolling. Am I right?
And I think one of the takeaways, or one of the takeaways that I had from the meeting prior, is you were going to communicate with some of the district members about having me attend one of the district board meetings.
We did talk about it at our last board meeting that you were going to come and you wanted to meet them. And they said, no, they want to meet with you, but not just as a meet and greet. They want to get to work.
I would love to do both.
Okay, okay. Yeah, they said, no, we invited him before, but we don't just want to meet him. We want to work on this IGA.
What was the invite before? My apologies.
Well, we wanted you to come and, meet the library board. And this is in the beginning of your work and you were busy and, but now that.
My apologies if I missed
Yeah.
a meeting, but I'd very much love
No,
to
we,
attend one.
yeah, but then the invitation was extended anyway. So,
Okay.
So once you guys negotiate something and then it comes back to the city council and to the county commission for approval, is that how it works?
That's ideally what comes to my mind is if we're going to make an amendment to the IGA or start with a new IGA, those would be ratified by the parties of the original IGA itself, which was the city in Wasco County.
Because the signatures on the IGA are the city manager, the city clerk, and the city attorney for the city side. And on the county side, it's just the county commissioners.
Well,
So
we can
they're
authorize, we as a council, when we approve it, we would authorize the city manager to sign the agreement on our behalf.
Right.
Yeah.
there are no library district members on there. We are just appointed as
Right.
people to manage it,
Mhm.
but not to, right.
Well, I'm sure your
So-
input will be very important to both parties.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the city council? Anybody on Zoom? Nope. Okay, we'll move on. Item 7 is the city manager's report. Mr. Cleaves.
Just a couple of items this evening. Wanted to let the council know that I conducted a site visit up to the Wicks Water Treatment Plant to give out some of the service pins that we had from the earlier holiday party, but also to meet and greet with the Wicks staff that we have up there. I've been to the treatment plant before a couple of times and received a tour of the operations there, but it was always good to get a refresher. I've had several meetings with some of the grocery stores in town to have a conversation around shopping carts and how they are working to address the issue of shopping carts being stolen or taken. You know, some of their parent companies, deal with this same problem across the country. And so wanted to have some conversation with them on some of the best practices that they've experienced and what they may be doing locally. As the mayor noted, we have some representation in Washington, DC as part of the community outreach team. And just as a reminder that we have a town hall on homelessness at the Discovery Center this coming April 3rd. And I mentioned it a moment ago, but Nubia, who's my executive assistant, today was her last day. She was able to get a great opportunity with the Hood River County. And we've posted that position and we'll be working to hire a new executive assistant so I don't lose my mind. So other than that, that is my report. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, so we have RSVPs for the town hall meeting, but they're actually full. So if you're interested in attending and haven't received confirmation of your RSVP, you can attend via Zoom or reach out to Izetta and I, and we can see if there are any final remaining spots.
Okay. Item 8 is city council reports. We'll start with Councilor McLaughlin.
None this week.
Councilor Randall,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No report.
Councilor Richardson,
No report this week, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Runyon,
Yes. No meetings of interest to this council, but I do want to remind folks that this is the 6th year of a national recognition of Vietnam War Veterans Day. It was instituted by our 45th president. And at 5:30 on Wednesday, March 29th, and every year it is March 29th. We will have a very casual gathering. Those who would like to just remember those that served during the Vietnam War, to remember those that didn't make it home. 5:30 at Kelly Viewpoint across from Cirrhosis Park, sponsored by the Patriot Guard Riders of Northeast Oregon, of which I'm the district captain, and co-jointly sponsored by the Mid-Columbia Veterans Memorial Committee, of which I'm the president. So 5:30 Wednesday, everyone who would like to be there is invited, probably 30 to 45 minutes, very casual, just a day of reflection. Thank you.
thank you. As far as my report goes, you all should have received some blank performance evaluation forms. And I'll be asking everyone to get together sometime in April to execute those documents and get that whole process started. On the 14th, I participated in a 7th grade, the Dalles Middle School tour of our Northwest Mural Fest murals. On the 16th, I was recently elected to the Oregon Mayors Association Board of Directors. And on the 16th, I met with the League of Oregon Cities President, Steve Calloway, who's also the mayor of Hillsborough, and the executive director, Patty Mulville. regarding some OMA issues. On the 17th, I met with Mary Hanlon about her development project on Third Street. On the 17th, I met with Sheriff McGill regarding what our city manager mentioned, the town hall meeting on Monday, and also some other homeless issues. On the 21st, Counselor McLaughlin and I were on KODL with Al Wynn. On the 22nd, I attended a meeting at the county regarding the feasibility study for a new athletic indoor or outdoor complex that was held at the county courthouse. On the 24th, I attended the groundbreaking for the navigation center that was on Saturday, the new one on 7th Street. And today I met with Brianna Irish, who is Senator Ron Wyden's administrative aide, regarding his town hall coming up this Saturday at 2:30 at the high school auditorium. That's all I have. Item 9 is the consent agenda. Items of a routine and non-controversial nature are placed on the consent agenda to allow the city council to spend its time and energy on the more important items and issues. Any councilor may request an item be pulled from the consent agenda and be considered separately. Items pulled from the consent agenda will be placed on the agenda at the end of the action items section. Tonight, we have 4 items on the consent agenda. The first one is the approval of the February 27th city council meeting minutes. Secondly, a resolution concurring with my appointments to various committees, including Mr. Doug Nelson and Mr. Forrest Cole to the Urban Renewal Budget Committee, reappointment of Bob McNary and Eric Leeson to the Historic Landmarks Commission, and also the appointment of Rita Rathke, who's sitting in our audience with Corliss Marsh, to our library board. Item C is a resolution repealing the city's return to work policy. And finally, we have authorizing surplus property in the city's police department. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll go ahead and second McLaughlin.
It's been moved by Councilor Randall and seconded by Councilor McLaughlin to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10A is land leases with a private hangar at our regional airport. Oh, sorry, we removed that. I forgot. My mistake. Okay.
And it's gone.
Okay. The City Council of the City of the Dalles will now meet in executive session in accordance with ORS 192.6602E to consult with persons designated to conduct real property transaction. And then in accordance with ORS 192.6602D to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry on labor negotiations. Actually, the labor negotiation part of this will be held first and then the property acquisition second.
Believe it's the opposite.
Or is it? Oh, sorry, I got it right the first time. Okay. Representative of the news media will not be allowed to attend the executive session concerning labor negotiations. Representative of the news media are specifically directed not to record or report on any of the discussions or deliberations during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in the executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back. So with that, we're going to adjourn into executive session. Thank you for attending tonight, and we will open up the meeting to open session after